All right, guys, let's get into it. PHP against Python. I'll give you my opinion. There's like actually a bunch of things I'm going to rate and compare them, and there's going to be a final rating. And like we're going to look at interesting things like jobs and trends. And actually, I think there's like interesting insights, but not everything is going to be serious. Okay, we need to have fun as well. So that's with what we're going to start with fun. By the way, my name is Lucas. So let's get right into it. And we start with something goofy. Just like I said, we're going to rate the looks of the creators. Trust me, it's not going to be too serious. But we're going to rate the looks of the creators. Do you know how they look? You're going to find out. Okay, this is Guido van Rossum. Actually, I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Guido van Rossum.
He's
Guido van
Dutch.
Rossum. Guido van Rossum.
I cannot say that even. Sorry, Guido. So he's drinking beer, he's having fun, even though he was a lot younger when he was drinking this beer. When he got older, a little more serious, you know? Serious. It's the same event where he was drinking the beer, another photo, same event. Not sure about his haircut. Let's see if we find something else. Oh my god, do you see this? You need Python. I'm not so sure, man. I think you need to stop telling me what I need. Oh, it's him again with the fancy glass. Oh, look at that. Well, I'm actually low-key impressed, you know? If you look like that, you probably have something going for you, you know? Okay, a little bit, yeah, he got his... Oh, he lost some weight when he got older, huh? Not much to say, honestly. Seems like a nice guy. Okay, let's switch. By the way, it's all love, okay? You know, like I'm looking at photos and whatever. This is all love. Come on. So, and Rasmus Lerdorf is Canadian. I just read it before. So let's check him out. He has less hair, I have to say that. So, but I'm not sure if the other guy is winning the hair contest here. Okay, look, he has more different faces, you know. Oh, he's a football fan. I don't think that's him. Or is it? Could be, yeah. The other pictures are... I'm not so sure. Wait, I'm gonna check. No, it's not, okay? It's not him, okay? All right, let's check him out here. Oh, he seems to like, he's smoking some weed sometimes, or is that the 420 face? Likes to party, yeah? All right, that's certainly gonna get the girls going, no? He looks like he could even be like in a metal band, yeah? Honestly, it looks like a nice fella. It's a good smile, you know, he's looking real. I saw an interview with him once, and he's a very down-to-earth guy, very pragmatic, so I kind of like that. Okay, I'm gonna rate them. Okay, even though he has more hair, I'll give it to... What was his name? Rasmus, not Giro. Okay, let's go to the next jobs. Actually, we have very interesting data there. I took some data from one of the biggest job platforms on the internet, where I'm not going to say the name because they have like weird terms of service, so I don't want to get them in trouble. So it's one of the biggest online platforms, and it's basically for remote work. So let's look at it. Look at the data I gathered. So this is beginning of September, which is 2021. So this is what I got actually. Let's not get confused here too much. So I filtered for all jobs, and you got more jobs for PHP, but not like 10,000 jobs. How many jobs do you need? You don't need too many jobs, yeah? So like it's a win for PHP, but 10,000 is still a lot. So then I filtered all the jobs that are $41 or more. Reason 41 and not 40, I don't want to have these jobs where like the max is 40. I want to have like 40-ish dollars jobs, you know, who say like, oh, I don't know, $30 to $50. I don't want to have the jobs where they you know, if you're the best programmer in the world, you're gonna earn 40. No, yeah, so that's 41. We can see here Python actually wins, and by a fairly big margin. Yeah, so I thought that's interesting. Then I filtered the fixed projects, which is a fixed price project, it's the same, like $1,001. In this case, there's more projects for PHP. I think these two go together. I guess for Python, they're looking more for the employees that work long time, whereas in PHP, you're gonna yeah, there's more fixed price, smaller projects as well. I guess, you know, $1,000 is not much. Yeah, it's almost not even worth starting to work for it. So then I filtered USA $41 plus for the web frameworks, and surprisingly, I have to say, Django wins here too against Laravel, but they're fairly close. You know, the difference is not much. So it's about the same, yeah? So you can earn good dollars in both. So but let's say we want even more money, right? We don't want $41, we want $61 an hour. So, and Python here is like a lot more. There's a lot more jobs in that range than for PHP. It just seems there's smaller projects, there's more projects, right? But it's smaller projects, it's more fixed price projects, and usually it's lower pay as well. Yeah. What about hourly Django and Laravel jobs? Well, it's about the same again, I would say. Yeah, there's like a little bit more for Django, but there's a decent amount with $61+ an hour for Laravel as well. So then we filtered as well for projects that are in the States and have less than 5 people applying. And there's 750 projects for Python and 600 for PHP, which is fairly similar again, I would say. Yeah. So my main takeaway here is actually I want to say first the Python context or environment for jobs is different than PHP. PHP is only web. There's only web. There's nothing else. You're not doing anything else with PHP than web. Yeah. Yeah. Or backend servers. Yeah. For Python, you can do graphical user interfaces through like Windows apps or something like that. You can even, you know, there's a lot of things happening in artificial intelligence in Python. So like the reason, you know, there's better payment, but there's less applicants. So like, how does this go together? They often, like, I looked at these jobs, you know, job descriptions, which I cannot show here, but like some of them, they were looking for very specialized jobs. Like, you need to have at least have 10 years of experience with analyzing cracks in pipes in images. Yeah, it's like, do you have that type of experience? I don't think so. So one of my takeaways is, yes, the payment is generally a bit worse, but in my opinion, it's easier to get the job. Yeah, with PHP because it is only web, whereas this is like many different things. This includes many different things, and they're looking for very specialized people, or at least more specialized than for PHP, just generally. Another takeaway is as well that there is more projects for PHP and there's more smaller projects for PHP. So if you're starting out, you're not sure what you want to do, it's probably easier to get into PHP than Python. We're going to see that in other things as well. The reason is you can do small projects. Well, there's basically two approaches. You start learning by doing small projects, or you work as a full-time employee in a big company. But then again, it's probably not so easy to get hired, you know. because they want you to have experience, right? It's easier to get into business with PHP and do some small projects and get better, and and after a while you're gonna make good money in either way, and like it doesn't matter so much, but it's easier to start with PHP in my opinion. I'm interested what you guys think. So what my takeaway is jobs. Actually, I'm gonna give it to PHP, and you're gonna be surprised because yeah, there's better, more money. But the thing is, you can get money either way. Yeah. Um, and the main thing for jobs is it's easier to get a job with PHP, in my opinion. Yeah, that's why I give it to them. Only a very small advantage. We can, guys. Okay, relax. Okay, if you want to discuss it, we can talk in the comments. Okay, another funny one. I think I mispronounced Python.
Python.
I think I mispronounced it a long time because I always called it Python in my head because it sounds nicer than Python.
Python.
Python. It's not so nice. I always said Python. And now that I found out it's actually pronounced Python, I think it's less cool. Let's listen to it in German.
Python.
Python. What about Spanish?
Python.
Python. Oh, it's kind of cute, no? I like this.
Python.
Python. Let's see PHP in Spanish.
PHP.
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 Oh my god, German is horrible.
PHP.
Yeah, that's fairly bad. So I think
Python.
Python gets it here because in Spanish it's so good, man.
Python.
Oh, okay. Editor support or IDE, yeah. PHP Storm is just a lot better than PyCharm. Yeah, so I have to give it to PHP by fairly big margin here. And I think it's a fairly important tool, yeah, because it flows into the next thing. Type hinting is very important. Like everyone realized that. It's a thing now in Python since I think version 3.5. So it's fairly old actually, but they're still changing things about the type hints in Python. Yeah, they added it here. The problem with this is, so the problem with Python type hints is they're not enforced. Yeah, we say here get tuple, we give 2 integers, and it returns a tuple.
Tuple.
It returns a tuple, okay. So as you can see, I can run this no problem. Even though I say int there, it doesn't matter. Like it's the same as like documentation. It's not something real. So this is, in my opinion, bad. Shouldn't have been done like this. In the beginning, like in PHP, it's not like that. You cannot do what like they do right here. So I created basically the same, just for PHP. So it returns an array. In this case, we give type hints here, and now I'm just going to change it to a string. So this was the first one. Like, let's run this again. Where can I? Uncaught type error. You're never going to see this in Python. Yeah, so it's the type hinting is simpler but enforced in PHP, and that's why it's better. Because I did have multiple type errors in functions that I wrote. I would never have found them, or found them harder if I would have done it like in Python. You can still add PHP doc here for the things that you cannot do. Like there are certain things you cannot do with the type hinting in PHP. For example, declaring arrays filled with integers. You cannot do it here. Yeah. Yeah, so you could type hint A to be an array of integers if you want in PHP doc, and it would PHP Storm, the IDE that you should be using, is this gonna type hint this correctly anyway? Obviously you would remove this in that case. And it has the same effect that all the type hinting has in Python. Yeah, it does basically nothing at runtime. And that's why they should have kept the things in the docs that are not enforced, and just like PHP has the better solution here. I'm sorry, I have to give that to PHP. Actually, I don't. The compatibility is actually, I'm not so sure how it is lately. Python did have a lot of problems in the past with Python version 2 and then breaking everything and creating version 3. Basically, you could not use each other, which is very stupid. Okay, that was a very big mistake. And I think like they kind of kept that mentality, because I feel, or I sense like this mentality stayed in Python. The mentality to break things is still there. So, which is bad. People say like, oh, you always have to break everything. So like you have the top-notch solution, but you break all the libraries that you have as well. So it's a big mess in Python, and it's a big mistake as well. So I give this to PHP. Web frameworks, they have Django, and PHP has Laravel. So, and Laravel is far superior. It's just like, I'll give you an example. This is a Celery, which is Django's queuing system. Huh? You would say it's easy to use, but the installation and everything, the configuration is fairly lengthy in my opinion. So you're much faster up and running with Laravel. You have the same thing basically. You just, maybe I'm gonna quickly show. Basically in Laravel, all you need is a supervisor configuration. So you need to have the supervisor installed. And you need to tell them where basically Laravel runs, yeah? And then you just tell them to start, you know, and that's it. And you get a lot more, actually you get a lot more functionality too. You can, there's so many things you can do out of the box in Laravel. I was doing projects with Django because I wanted to get out of Laravel. And I figured like everything is actually worse, you know, everything I'm touching is like a little bit more hassle. And like, so I started actually arguing with a guy, with a Python guy, and he told me like, Lucas, there's no point. It's just, you know, stick to Laravel. It's just better. And I fear I have to agree. It's not only that, they have as well like official packages, even a list of it. You know, Cashier, if you want to run payments, Dusk. These are official packages. These are not like some guy created this package. They're straight from the Laravel team themselves. All right, I'm giving this to Laravel. This is probably even more than that. We've been a bit harsh, maybe with it. I'm not sure. Okay, eggheadedness is clearly the Python guys are more of eggheads, yeah. And this is not a good thing actually. It's better to be solution oriented, in my opinion. So they're the bigger eggheads, in my opinion, far bigger. Like you can sense this, for example, like an example of this is shown in the template engine of PHP. You can run PHP code inline in the blade files, which makes sense to set variables, for example, or to retrieve some data, yeah, that you just want this view to have available. Not, obviously you shouldn't program your all programming logic in the view, but you know that, just don't do it, right? Just do like the bare minimum, and you can do it easily in PHP. In Python, that's like, I worked a lot with Jinja too. It's always a pain, like you have to create your own filters and stuff like that. It's just very unnecessary. And by the way, Blade is better than Jinja 2 as well, because Jinja 2 is not very stable. It has bugs. So I'm just generally going to give this to PHP because that's how I sense the community is different. Yeah, it has a different type of programmer usually in PHP. Python or many academics. Yeah, it's used at many universities. Language features. I have to give this to Python. It certainly has more features than PHP. I'm not fond of all of them. For example, the type hinting, but we have this separately. Like, that's a big penalty. So I give let's give it 1.5. Yeah, we have a big advantage here. The thing is, I don't like everything. The example is annotations. I see annotations used a lot in Python, and it can be good, but it's used too much. Like, I see the place for annotations, for example, in database models. There it makes more sense. You know, where you indicate if a field in the database is an integer. It's useful to have a way to do it using annotations, but the programs in Python use this everywhere for everything. It makes the code a lot harder to read. It's easier to read in PHP, yeah? So the trend, this is an interesting one actually. So let's look at this one. So what do we see? So green is Java. So Java was very big, you know, in 2016. At least a lot of people were Googling it. Doesn't mean it was actually big. We're gonna come to that very soon. You can see Java is still a lot bigger than JavaScript or PHP. Yeah, so I'm gonna make this bigger. So green is Java, a very old language. Then we have red is Python. So we see it goes up and now it's going down again. So I think like this is where, you know, the hype about AI was a thing, which is still a thing, by the way. We're gonna see that later. PHP is blue and it's dropping seriously, yeah. It just worries one a little bit, yeah, but not too much at the same time, yeah. It's just PHP has been very, very big a while ago, but it's reducing like all languages, by the way. All of them are going down. Like none of them is going up. Can you see that? So I wonder what's happening. I think people just learned more, you know. There's not many, or there's not so many people who are Googling PHP or JavaScript or Python anymore. It was the only reason when people start Googling it is because there was a hype about something, yeah. And by the way, I just showed Ruby. It's at the very bottom. You can still get good jobs with Ruby, yeah. There's a lot of Ruby jobs, but it's just, you know, on a different level. So I found this interesting. Do we see anything useful here? Java is still used here. Python seems to be winning over PHP in this case, yeah? We have some more graphics though. So I'm here at trending / Python, and let's just look at stars here. 300 stars, 250 stars, 250 stars today, you know? Like for things that are, like what is an example project? Let's just go to the highest one. The algorithms, not that one. Yeah, renderer, not so interesting. So here it is, OCR toolkit. That's AI basically. Do we have more like that? Or that learn how to design large-scale systems. So this is not even prep for the system design interview. It has 143,000 stars. I just want to show this project. It's real-time voice cloning. Wow, that sounds pretty cool, no? So I can record my brother and then clone his voice and call my dad and like screw with him. It sounds fun. I want to start it. Oh, there's almost 30,000 stars. It's like insane. But if you dig a little bit deeper, look at this, what they write in the README. But you might end up being disappointed by the result. Okay, so they even say here it's like disappointing results, but it still has 30,000 stars. So he's the maker of this project, and he's writing. Too bad it only looks easy, but still out of reach for most people with little experience in programming. Well, but who has a GitHub account and has like very little experience in programming? I'm not so sure, man. I think the things that are created in Python often are like too complex for no reason, no good reason. Anyway, let's compare with PHP stars. Oh, 35 stars, 18 stars. So there's weekly. 100 stars. Oh, that's something a lot for. Oh, even did I start it? No, I'm in the incognito mode. Anyway, so that's a big difference in numbers, huh? Oh, we have something big here. 410 stars. But like everything was like 100, 300 in Python, and here's a lot less. So like people are less stoked about things. Or there's, but it's all like it feels like a little bit is like fake interest in these projects. I wanted to start the voice, you know, the voice project as well, because it's like, oh, it sounds so much fun. But actually, are you actually using it? You know, it's just, you know, catchy, you know, it's hip. Well, I'm certainly going to give this to Python in this case, because there is a lot trend. Let's actually quickly look at Laravel versus Django, okay? So 66,000 versus Django's 59,000, okay? So no, I'll give it to Python, of course, yeah. So you have amazing traction. I think there's very little traction in PHP. So what about the syntax actually? Actually, before we look at the syntax, I just want to go back to jobs because I wanted to say something here. Basically, like I compared as well Java, C Sharp, and Swift, just for the hourly 61 plus dollars jobs, and look for yourself. Actually, I did Node.js, JavaScript too. So with Java, you have 80, C Sharp 40, Swift 25, which completely pales if compared to Python and PHP. Like you got 80. Well, that's 3 times less than PHP. And if you recall, like the trends, you know, the graphic Java was so big. It's not really that big, you know, on this, at least on that freelancer market. C Sharp the same, and Swift surprisingly low. Here is the search I used for JavaScript. So basically everything, and they have a lot too. There's a lot of good opportunities there. But probably I would not. You still can get a good jobs, you know. How many jobs in Java do you need? It is probably not something I would invest myself in when starting out. It looks a lot less than everything else. Yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to say. So back to syntax. I'm just gonna go here to Stripe because they have a lot of implementation. Here, can I make this bigger? Oh God. I think it's okay, no? You can read. Well, you don't need to read. You have to just to look at. This is the PHP version. Doesn't look too shabby. Let's look at the Python one. It needs to import something, which is fine. It creates it this way. Honestly, they look both fine to me. What I personally dislike, let's just look at Java. Java is statically typed and you pay a price for this. You can see this is a lot more verbose than it needs to be, or what you would say that is needed. It's less readable, certainly, than the other two. Like all these lines are just this. Yeah, so both are fine. What I personally dislike in Python is the brackets, the closing brackets. There is no brackets, right? you don't have anything. It's just hanging in the air here. Well, there's not a good example here, but like if you write Python, you know there's no brackets used, curly braces used. And I personally dislike that. What I like in Python is that you can define multiple, or I think I like it. I'm not so entirely sure. You can define multiple classes in one file, whereas in PHP, each file is one class. Yeah, or that's how it's usually done, at least in PHP. I haven't seen something else. Yeah, if you create a class, you define one file in PHP, and in Python you just have like one file with 20 classes in it, which, you know, the advantage is you're more likely to create a class because you don't have to create a file. You just, okay, let's create a new class. Whereas in PHP you're like, oh god, I have to create a new file. How annoying is that? But it's, for me, it's cleaner to look at a PHP project and see the classes, you know, the files and the folders, and everything is namespaced that way. It's more clean to me. Whereas in Python, you have two files, and in one file there's 20 classes, and the other file there's one class. So I'm not sure which I prefer. So I'll give it a draw here. Actually, I prefer the braces, and I slightly prefer. Hard to say. Right, let's make it a draw. So who has the worst past? I think this is clearly PHP. Okay, a bad past. It's just like a rapper, you know. You need something to rap about, you know, to tell. I think you learn your lessons as well. And PHP has a very bad past. You know, I worked on projects of clients with old code. It's very ugly. PHP actually still has very ugly code today, like in some projects. And WordPress, for example, yeah, there's some plugins and themes that are not secure, not at all. But I think you learn from the past, or at least you should. Whereas Python had like the double-barrel shotgun problem because they had Python 2, then they had Python 3. I think that like Python 2 is not supposed to exist any longer. So they got rid of that problem. And now you can work with the version problems they have with version 3. Yeah, like some plugin only works with version 3.8, the other only works with 3.5, and so you're like, it's okay. I think PHP has the worst past, but Python has actually a bad present too. I didn't even put package manager. Python has the worst package manager in my opinion. Let's just, okay, let's just keep it like this because I want to finish this long video. Easy to learn? I think Python is harder to learn actually. There's people who argue it's easier to learn, but it's not because you have more language features to learn. So it's harder. Whereas, you know, in PHP, just like in JavaScript, you basically have like objects and arrays. In PHP, the arrays are special arrays, you know, super arrays. But that's it. And in Python, you have many data structures more and many ways to iterate, you know, and create arrays or data structures. So it's harder to do. You cannot do like necessarily more with it, like the end product, but it's certainly more to learn. So I give this to PHP here in this case. What I think is the most important part is for me personally is the web framework. The web framework Laravel is just better and has more packages and you can get your shit done. But if you want to work anything with AI, even though PHP has their AI library, yeah, there is Rubik's ML and there's a Laravel package as well that makes it easy to interact with AI in Laravel, which I created a wrapper for this. So it's super easy to use, but it doesn't have all the features that you have in Python. There's not, because all the universities use Python and not PHP. So like all the special artificial intelligence things are in Python only. But for me still, usually the project don't need artificial intelligence. It's something small, you know, not something like if the main thing of the project is artificial intelligence, then yes, obviously go with Python. But if you have to find like related items or simple things, you know, is this what is the expected price going to be given all other data? You can do that in PHP already. Yeah. So actually, final result. So we have the winner here. It is PHP. Who would have thought? Could it be because I'm influenced by personal opinion? No, no, it cannot be. Impossible. Yeah, this is an objective, you know, review of everything. And you know, this is the result, and this is final. Okay, this doesn't change for like other people. This is a global result. It's not like it depends on the individual. No, not at all. Okay, guys, I'm just kidding, right? I'm just, you know, let's have some fun. Let's talk about things. I hope you learned some things or you got like interesting views on and thoughts, you know, about things that you maybe didn't know. Maybe you disagree. You know, leave a comment below, please. Share, like, and subscribe, you know. Subscribe to this channel. Yeah. We're gonna be famous one day, yeah. We're gonna grow for sure. And I'm having fun doing this. I had a lot of fun doing the thumbnail and looking at the photos actually. Was very fun. And the rest was a little bit serious, but I think interesting for someone who has less experience. If you have more experience than me, or you know, this was less interesting for sure. But this is my view, and this is how I see it. You know, so like, share, subscribe, man. Yeah, come on over, join us, and yeah, see you in the next video. And don't forget, it's all love, okay? No hate, please. No hate.